who knows what's going to happen with Kyrie? There's always drama, right, Dan? Whether he's not playing, whether he is playing, there always seems to be drama surrounding Kyrie Irving. I think the Nets are kind of steadfast in this idea that they only want to give him a short-term contract. And how can you blame them? We know the numbers. He's played in 103 games in 3 years. He's missed 123. The guy just isn't available enough. So yes, we know all about the big shot that he hit with Cleveland against Golden State. We're now beyond 6 years of that happening. And what has he done since then? So, and he thinks himself as a top 75 player. That's all great. You just haven't played enough for the Brooklyn Nets.
All right. It felt like a leverage play when I first heard it. I still feel it's that way, but that hasn't stopped the media with running with the possibilities here. Now, Kyrie says, hey, if you're going to trade me, here's 6 teams here. Then there's the KD portion of this. Separate fact from fiction here.
Well, it's interesting. So, Kevin Durant, kind of following Draymond Green, considers himself new media, and he actually released a podcast just this morning where he kind of addressed the stuff. The problem is, whoever was doing the interview didn't ask him specifically, if Kyrie Irving were to leave, would you ask the Nets to be traded? So new media, old media like you and I would have asked that direct question. That would have been better off. But the way that he answered the questions and the way that he spoke about it leads me to believe that Kevin Durant wants Kyrie there, but don't necessarily attach my future to what he might do. So I think this is, come on, Joe Tsai, the owner, Sean Marks, the general manager, these discussions have to take place with Kevin Durant in mind. He's already committed. Here's the thing, Dan, he's already committed 4 years to this organization. So I said it before, one of the most underrated stories in the NBA last year was that Kevin Durant signed up for 4 more years. So if the Nets can do something, if Kyrie's back, I'm sure Kevin Durant's going to be happy with that. And I think if they can get something for Kyrie Irving, I think Kevin Durant's going to think, let's go, game on, let's play.
When it comes to Kyrie, I say never, because he's a wild card that I don't know if he just says, hey, you know what, I'm going to go play for the Lakers for $6 million.
I know. And the other variable there is, now he's using, I believe it's his former stepmom as his agent. I don't know what kind of experience she has, but a lot of times this is when you do need an experienced agent, whether, a man or a woman that has connections around the league where, if you make one play.
His agent is his former stepmom.
Yes, exactly. And you remember this, Dan, from years ago, once you get family members involved, remember with Mark Messier's negotiations with the New York Rangers, he had his dad and his brother negotiating for him. And then all of a sudden, when the Rangers are saying certain things, he's getting up there in age, he looks a little slow, they take it personally. They don't take it as business. So you always have to factor that in as well. But I think you're absolutely right. If Kyrie would have turned down the $36 million and take $6 million, we would all say, you crazy for doing that. But guess what? He's so unpredictable that it wouldn't be the craziest thing if he did it.
But let's look at the teams that he put out there. Let's just be fair to what has been reported. The team that makes the most sense for Kyrie and makes the most sense for that team is which scenario?
Well, I would say probably the Lakers, just because you have Anthony Davis there and you do have LeBron and he's won with LeBron. He needs to go to a team where he's not going to be the best player. He was the best player for a while in Cleveland. They weren't any good. He was the best player before Jason Tatum emerged in Boston. And, they did better without Kyrie than they did with him. So I would say the Lakers, I still think the best situation for him is Brooklyn. Remember, Joe Harris is going to be coming back. That's a great shooter. Ben Simmons, I don't know what to expect out of him, but he is talented. Let's face it. He can defend. He could rebound. I still think that's the best place for him. One of the teams that you have to laugh, he throws the Philadelphia 76ers in there. We all know that he and James Harden had a big time falling out. It's almost Kyrie's way of trying to spin the story. No, see, I want to go to Philadelphia, but you guys are all saying that I didn't get along with James Harden. Come on now. We all know they didn't get along with James Harden, but it all makes sense. He spends a lot of time in LA. You got the 2 LA teams. Philly's close to West Orange, New Jersey, where he lives. Obviously, the Knicks are close. And then you have, Dallas with Mark Cuban with deep pockets. And then everybody wants to go to Miami. So all the teams make sense from that standpoint.